Geometry review for the final chapter 4 and 5. So this is using a lot of the properties and just knowing how when triangles are congruent. And you won't get a cheat sheet for this. You will just have to know. So that's kind of one of those things. Which pair are not congruent? So we're looking at which pair of two angles are not congruent. One thing when I'm going to start with this, angle, side, angle. So if you still are struggling in how seeing what each triangle has, start at a location that has nothing and start tracing the triangle until you have congruent parts. So in this case, I have a congruent part here, so that's a side. And then I end up at a congruent part here, so that's an angle. And then I end up at a congruent part here, side. So this is side, angle, side, which is also congruent. If I look at this, I can still go in this direction because I still have this side and then an angle and then a side. So these two are congruent by side, angle, side. Here, if I start at this location that has nothing, again, if I trace this, I have an angle and then a side and then an angle. So angle, side, angle. You should start tracing the triangle at a location that does not have a congruent part. So here I have my angle, side, angle. So that still works. So that's not my answer. Here I have a side, angle, side. This also has a side, angle, side. Here I have an angle, angle, side. Here I have a angle, side, angle. So this one was an angle, angle, side. This was angle, side, angle. This are not congruent. Problem 2, which pair are congruent by side, angle, side? So you have to use side, angle, side. These two are congruent, yes, but not by side, angle, side. These are congruent by side, side, side. So if I look at this one, this is going to be congruent to itself. So if I look at this, I have a angle, and then I have a side, and then I have a side. If you just wrote that out in your head, that's a naughty word. We do not have a shortcut that's an angle, side, side. So that does not work. This is going to be congruent to itself. Remember, reflexive. So again, starting at a location that has nothing, here's my congruent part. I have a side, and then an angle, and then a side. Well, that works for side, angle, side. So it would be B. Here, there's only two congruent parts. So right away, I already know that those two can't be congruent because there's only two congruent parts. Problem 3. It's telling us it's an isosceles right triangle. If it's an isosceles right triangle, what it's telling us with this, by definition, is that this is congruent to this. That has to be true. Because the hypotenuse, if it's a right triangle, remember the hypotenuse has to be the largest length. To make it a right triangle, the hypotenuse is always the largest length. It's asking for what's the measure of PRS. So looking at that PRS is asking for what's this angle equal to. Well, if this is an isosceles triangle, and if this is 90, these two have to be the same thing. So if these two are the same thing, if I did 90 divided by 2, both of these are going to be equal to 45. So now that I have this angle, I can do 180 minus 45, or I could do 45 plus 90. Either way you do it, you should get 135. C. So first, it's telling us that this is an equilateral triangle. In an equilateral triangle, all these angles are congruent. If all these angles are congruent, that means all these angles are 60 degrees. It's asking for what is the measure of angle CBD. CBD. It's asking for this whole thing. So first I have to figure out what this angle is. So looking at this triangle, all the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So I can do 180 minus 64 minus 70. So this angle right here, this little guy, would be equal to 46. And then if I'm looking for the whole big shebang, I can do the 60 plus 46, and I get 106 degrees. Problem 5, so these last two are dealing with chapter 5, what we just ended with. Which three lengths can't be the sides of a triangle? So remember, if you have 3 side lengths, in order to make these side lengths in the triangle, 2 lengths have to add up to be greater than the third. Okay, 2 of the lengths have to be greater than the third. Now, really what you have to check here, are your two smallest lengths. Are your two smallest lengths greater than your largest length? So if I add 17 plus 14, that would give me 31. So 31 is greater than 23. So I'm going to be doing that for all of them. My two smallest lengths have to be greater than my third. 11 plus 11 will be greater than 12. So that one will also work because that would be 22 is greater than 12. My two smallest lengths here are 7 and 5. So 7 plus 5 would give me 12, which is also greater than 8. So that one works. Here, my two smallest lengths here are 6 and 10. So 6 plus 10 is 16. 16 is not greater than 21. This will not be able to be a triangle. And last but not least, the park, shown by triangle below, is triangular. Oh my goodness. A landscape architect wants to place a bench at the corner with the largest angle. Which two streets form the largest angle? So remember, in a triangle, whatever has the largest side, so I'm looking at my side lengths, so here's my largest side, then that means the largest angle is straight across from that. So this right here is my largest angle. So the two streets that form the largest angle are MKL and Valley. So MKL, nope, there's Valley, MKL, and Valley. So it'd be C as in cat. There you have it. 4 and 5, done. Have a great day.